Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Angikam Bhuvanam Yasya Vachikam Sarvavangmayam Aharyam Chandrataradi Tam Numah Satvikam Shivam. Let us take in Shiva Shakti in 5 deep breaths. Om Shiva Shakti Om. 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 It is such a pleasure to go through this Shiva Tandava Stotra, which is one of the very, very important worshipful stotra on Shiva, who has taken the form as Nataraja. So before I start directly Shiva Tandava Stotra, I would like to talk about the depth of the meaning of Shiva Tandava Stotra. So once we understand the deep meaning of these three words, then we can think of who the composer is, who created this stotra. So Shiva, one can perceive Shiva as Shiva in form, which has been described how he looks, what he wears, through many scriptures in Puranas and also in many of the chitra, the photographs, the idols. We do see that. So Shiva in form, we can perceive. The next one is, one can perceive Shiva as the whole manifestation, as his body. The whole manifestation as Shiva. Next to that, higher one is Shiva as the very core essence of the whole manifestation, whole universe. The very core essence, who is all pervading. And still next to that is that core essence, all pervading Shiva, is my own Atma. So in these levels, one can perceive Shiva. And this Shiva Tandava Stotra gives us the opportunity to go through all the four stages of perceiving Shiva. Tandava. Tandava is actually dance. Shiva Tandava is that way Shiva provides his dance, Tandava, as the very source of Srishti, sthiti, Laya, creation, preservation, and annihilation of the whole universe. That is Shiva Tandava. So what is that dance? What is dance? Dance is the movement of anything which flows, which goes from one position to another position, beautifully, gracefully, in rhythm and harmony. So the movement, when it is in a rhythm and harmony, tala and raga, that movement becomes dance. Shiva, as such, the consciousness is inert. Consciousness as Shiva is inert. Only when he is in the company of Shakti, the pure energy, he starts moving. So that movement of consciousness, when he's activated by Shakti, because it is so rhythmic, because there is built-in rhythm in his movements, and because there is harmony in every subtle nanosecond positions, there is harmony, the continuity, the seamless chain, continuity is there, harmony, raga. That movement looks so beautiful. And that is happening throughout the cosmos. So his dance, Tandava, is happening cosmically and individually as well. So Shiva Tandava is all the movements which are taking place in the cosmos. Just visualize all the movements, whatever movement is there, it is happening in the body of Shiva, which is the whole universe, in built-in rhythm, and there is a lot of harmony. So the whole cosmos, all the movements in the cosmos is his Tandava dance. So he is expressing. What is he expressing? Angika Vinaya. That is the bodily movements, the movement physically which we can see. That is happening in the individuals as well. Right now, I used my hand like this to show I am this body. So even that is nothing but Shiva's dance through Alaka, who moved her hand. Got the point? So Shiva Tandava is happening cosmically. Individually, also it is happening through all the three bodies. That is through physical bodies, Sthula Sharira. It is happening because we all walk, eat, sleep. We use all different limbs. While using the limbs, we are also conveying something. When I'm eating with the hand movements, I'm conveying that I'm eating. While walking, I'm using the limbs. The limbs are moving, feet are moving. I'm conveying that I am going there. So like that, the physical body is expressing. How am I expressing it? Because that activated consciousness, which is moving in the physical body, it is making the hand possible to move, all the limbs possible to move with a built-in rhythm. Physical body, Angikam Bhuvanam, the whole universe, cosmically, every movement in the universe is his dance Tandava. Now, mentally, when we take it, Sukshma Sharira, won't we say, when I'm in a rage about some person, I express, bah, even me seeing at that person, my mind is acting like Tandava. My mind was really dancing Tandava. When my eyes fell on the question paper with fear, my mind was really dancing Tandava. My mind was agitated with fear. Will I be able to do it? Or when I go for an interview, when they say you are selected, my goodness, my mind was dancing Ananda Tandava, but I really controlled my face to keep it calm, to get out of the room and then show my joy to my friends, to my parents. Won't we say that? Won't we feel it? Even if we don't express it, won't we feel those things happening in the mind with different emotions? That is also Shiva Tandava, which is happening with every being, because Shiva as consciousness is there in every being. And because that movement is there physically and mentally, that Shiva Tandava is happening both in the body and the mind. Even in the causal body also, where the thoughts are generated, the very first generating point is in that causal body, Karana Sharira. Because there is some desire or some movement is happening in that causal body. The thought is taking shape and it is coming through the Sukshma Sharira, and then it is coming through my mouth as the words. So even there, it is Shiva, the consciousness, who is dancing. So Shiva Tandava is there everywhere, because Shiva is dancing that Tandava, which is rhythmic. It is not erratic. There is some system, rhythm, built-in rhythm in every movement. It is having the tala. Harmony. It is not jerky. There is not abrupt cut in between. There is smooth flow of every movement. When we take his cosmic dance, Tandava, there is rhythm and harmony in the flow of the river, the flow of the breeze, the sunlight, his movement from morning till evening, Chandra, and even the seasons. There is rhythm and harmony. The way it moves from one season to another season is so smooth. It is not with jerk or jump. So Shiva Tandava is graceful. The movement is graceful. Same thing is happening individually also. Our body, the mind growth, we don't realize how smoothly from babyhood all the way to adulthood we would have reached. That gradual growth is also in a smooth, seamless continuity, which is harmony, raga, and it is graceful, seamless. That is Shiva Tandava. So normally when we think Tandava dance, we think of seeing this TV serial or cinema or 2 hours program on the stage in dance drama. No doubt, that is also Shiva Tandava, but that is only one of millions and millions and millions way of Tandava of Shiva, which is happening cosmically around us, individually within us, in so many ways, in millions of ways. Now, do you understand the grandeur of Shiva Tandava? It's happening in so many ways. Shiva Tandava. Stotra. Stotra is what? It is the reflex, instantaneous, spontaneous expression of the deep feeling of devotion, adoration, wonder, and surrender towards that Lord. Why do we say it has to be reflex or spontaneous? When we see something which is very wondrous, wow, at once our eyes becomes huge with wonder. And we express the word, wow. Or when we are really distressed, Deva. Won't we say that? These are all the expressions which come spontaneously, instantaneously, because the being, one would have felt it within. When it is felt in the inner core, anthakarana, that reflex reaction, the reflex response comes out automatically. So when we say, wow, bapre, all these words are not coming out of my thinking after the process of thinking. No, it is reflex action which comes just spontaneously. Stotra, when this wow, bapre, aha, ayo kadavale, deva, when these words, these expressions, hidden expressions are described in detail using the words to pour out the innermost feeling, that takes the form as stotra. So when we are singing the stotra, whoever be the author of that stotra, who has expressed their own feelings through words, which is poetic, which is beautiful, which is touching the heart and the mind, even though it is the author is someone else. Whenever we are singing the stotra, we should become that author, and I am singing this stotra. We should make it swagata. It is mine. I am the one who is singing this stotra. So I should become one with the words, because it is coming from my anthakarana, from my inner self. That is stotra. Only then that recitation of stotra would become or would act as mantra. Mantra is that which has the power to transcend a person to different heights. So that way, the stotra, when it is recited, which is created by a person who has gone through the experience of those feelings which are expressed in words, when we make that as our own, then stotra becomes meaningful, purposeful, good recitation, and it will act as mantra because it will have that capacity in it. So, Shiva Tandava Stotra. And it is Ravana who has created this. With this introduction of the words Shiva Tandava, and of course, there are different kinds of Tandava which are described in scriptures like Sandhya Tandava, Ananda Tandava, Tripura Tandava, Samhara Tandava, Kali Tandava, Gauri Tandava, Uma Tandava. So there are different kinds that also we can understand the movement in different emotions, different situations. So every way we see that because of Shiva Tandava, the whole cosmos is created and it is existing, and also it will be annihilated just because of Shiva Tandava. And just because that Shiva Tandava is happening in every being, every one of us, whether we realize it or not, it is taking place. Because that Tandava is happening in every one of us, we are what we are right now. So this Shiva Tandava Stotra, which is created by Ravana, has that capacity in it. So let us see how we can get involved in it and get the benefit of it. Ravana is Dashakantha. That means he has 10 heads. There are different legends which says about what made Ravana to create this Shiva Tandava Stotra. What is the story behind? One very famous legend about Ravana is he went to Alakapuri, Kubera's capital. He defeated him and looted all his wealth, and while coming back to Sri Lanka, to his place, he could not pass over Kailas, the Mount Kailas. However, he tried, the Pushpaka Vimana would not move. So he asked Nandi, what's the reason? Why it is not going forward? Then Nandi said, Shiva and Parvati are in seclusion in this area, so no one is allowed to pass over this place. So slightly the argument started, and it started becoming more hot, and Ravana, with his egocentric power, he said, ha, I can lift this Kailasa and keep it aside, and I can move in my Pushpaka Vimana. And he put his both arms under Kailasa mountain. When it started moving, omniscient Shiva, who was on the top, realized it must be the menace of Ravana. And he pressed Kailasa Parvata with his the thumb foot, and it started paining to Ravana. And that is when he started praying Shiva. That is one. Another legend says that Ravana's mother, Kaikeshi, because of her illness, she could not go to Shiva temple in Sri Lanka. So, out of love for his mother, he said, don't worry, I will bring the Kailasa itself along with Shiva. And thus, he put his hand under the Kailasa to lift it up and take it to Sri Lanka. Another legend says, Ravana loved Shiva to such an extent that he wanted to have Shiva always with him. Immense love and devotion for Shiva made him, I want Shiva in Sri Lanka, not in this Kailas. So with that ego, he wanted to lift the Kailasa and take it to Lanka. And so he put his both the arms under Kailasa and he started lifting. So how is it fair? Ravana, who was so egoistic, his power wise, his strength wise, wealth wise, and he was thinking, I am the best devotee of Shiva, Shiva Bhakta Shiromani, I am the one. So with all this egocentric power in him, he thought the whole world revolves around his whims and fancy. He didn't realize the whole world runs around, works around the will and grace of that Supreme Ishvara. So to make him understand, Shiva did nothing. He just took the pose of pushing that Kailasa with his foot. So he was in great pain, Ravana. Just visualize, both the hands are stuck. Physically, he's feeling so dead that Ravana is dying because he can't move and he's going through the pain, severe pain. Physically, he's dead. Mentally, his ego was hurt like anything. He was thinking he can take out the whole Kailasa along with Shiva. But that ego is also hurt a lot. So emotionally, mentally, he is dead. Ravana is dead. Spiritually also, he felt, I am such a great bhakta of Shiva. My love for him can never be equal to anyone else's. How can Shiva be so harsh on me? So even spiritually, he lost Shiva. So in all levels, Ravana is dead right at this moment. So who is left if Ravana is gone? The Jiva, which had totally drained, surrendered to that unknown. And that moment triggered the consciousness in him, the real Shiva Bhakti in him. Because his mind was so cleansed when that Ravana is dead at that moment. It is that Jiva which is expressing its innermost feeling about Shiva. It could have been just Shiva Stotra, but why Ravana is thinking of Shiva Tandava Stotram? Why the dance of Shiva? Why not just Shiva Stotra? Just imagine, physically, mentally, spiritually, if a person is hit to the roots itself, and if he's dead, what would run in the mind? And the transformation, what is happening when that consciousness is making that Ravana go through the transformation. That dance, that moment is expanded in Ravana's mind, Ravana's heart, Ravana's anthakarana, mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, all the four were filled with Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. So when the transformation is happening, naturally, Shiva as consciousness in Ravana was dancing, isn't it? Otherwise, how will he have that total surrender towards Shiva in such a way? So it is the grace of Shiva which made Ravana to transform at that moment as just Jiva who has surrendered to Shiva. So think, each word of this Shiva Tandava Stotra, if it has come from that Jiva which has surrendered totally, not being able to do anything, it is understanding what that Shiva is, how the movement of Shiva within himself is taking such different myriad forms, and it looks like dancing. So at once, even that physical body was also not limiting him. The mind expanded to perceive the whole cosmos as Shiva Tandava, and thus he could come up with such analogy in his Shiva Tandava Stotra, which makes even the reader and the reciter and all other devotees to experience that cosmic dance of Shiva. At the same time, realize that that Shiva Tandava is happening in the same way within. And that is the reason whenever we recite Shiva Tandava Stotra with total involvement and surrender, one gets all the siddhis and also the liberation. And that's the reason Shiva Tandava Stotra is one of the major stotras on Shiva. And poetically, it is so beautiful. When Ravana came up with these words, which are filled with Shabdalankara and Arthalankara, that poetry was like Samagana. There was so good meter of Panchachamara and the analogy. And the way Ravana was reciting was also very musical. Shiva was Samagana Priya. And Shiva knows that he is his Bhakta. And Shiva is Bhakta Vatsala. So all these things made Shiva really show his compassion towards Ravana. Because he is Bole Nath. He can be pleased easily. So he blessed him with Chandrahasa, that is one of the swords which was given to him. And also Shiva blessed, whoever recites this will have my grace. So Shiva Tandava Stotra is really enjoyable. And also, when we go a little deeper into what Shiva Tandava Stotra is, that Ravana, Dashakantha, we are all that Ravana because we readily grab Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva, doership and enjoyership at once. And we live with the wishes and desires that the world should be like this around me. To put down that consciousness in us who is Shiva, now and then, he keeps pressing us, putting us down, that ignorance, the illusion that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am this body, I have to take care of it, I have to make it comfortable, pleasurable. These ignorance has to be taken out, for which the consciousness within us keeps pressing us down. When the consciousness presses the mind, automatically we go through the pain, because we would have made it as our habit to be the way under the control of the mind, which keeps moving here and there, chanchala, with whims and fancy. So we go through that pain, isn't it? And every Jivatma is, in one way or the other, is Ravana, and how to convert that Ravana Jiva into a Divya Jiva. Each one of us want to be Divya, but at the same time we have that Ravana Jiva in us, Ravana-ness in our Jiva. How to convert it? That also Ravana is teaching us. When there is so much of pain, we surrender. Isn't it? Sankata Bandaga Venkata Ramana. When we go through difficult situation in life, when it is not under our control to correct it, we say, "Oh Venkatramana, please help me." But when we are in happy days, we don't realize. So it is the pain which makes us to go towards that consciousness. And thus, we come up with the expression of these stotras, and we want to recite the stotras, and we get the phala of that, because that consciousness, that Shiva, that Venkatramana is very much within us, Atma, who is dancing. जटाटवी गलज्जल प्रवाह पावितस्थले गलेवलं व्यलम्बिताम्बुजङ्गतुङ्गमालिकां ढमट् 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 ढमत् निनादवड्डमद्वयं चकार चण्डताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिव शिवं शिव 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 शम्भो शिव शिव शम्भो जटाकटाह सम्भ्रम भ्रमन्निलिम्प निर्झरि विलोलवीचिवल्लरि विराजमानमूर्धनि धगत् 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 ज्वलत् ललाटपट्टपावके किशोरचन्द्रशेखरे प्रति प्रतिक्षणं मम शिव 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 शम्भो शिव शिव शम्भो धराधरेन्द्र नन्दिनी विलास बन्धु बन्धुर स्फुरद्दिगन्त सन्तति प्रमोदमान मानसे कृपा कटाक्ष धोरणि निरुद्ध दुर्धरापदि क्वचित् दिगम्बरे मनो विनोद मे तु वस्तुनि शिव 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 शम्भो शिव शिव शम्भो जटा भुजंग पिंगल स्फुरत्पणामणि प्रभा कदम्ब कुंकुम द्रव प्रलिप्त दिग्वधूमुखि मदान्ध सिन्धुर स्फुर त्वगुत्तरीय मेदुरे मनो विनोदमद्भुतं बिभर्तु भूत भर्तरि शिव 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 शम्भो शिव शिव शम्भो सहस्रलोचन प्रभृत्य शेषलेख शेखर प्रसून धूलि धोरणि विधूसराङ्घ्रि पीठभु भुजङ्ग राजमालय निबद्ध जाट जूटक श्रियै चिराय जायत चकोर बन्धु शेखरः शिव 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 शम्भो शिव शिव शम्भो ललाट चत्वरज्वल धनञ्जय स्फुलिङ्गभा निपीत पञ्चसायकं नमन्निलिम्बनायकं सुधामयूखलेखय विराजमान शेखरं महाकपालि संवदे शिरोजटालमस्तु नः शिव 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 शम्भो शिव शिव शम्भो शिव शिव शम्भो शिव शिव शम्भो. So this Shiva Tandava Stotra in Panchachamara meter chandas is so beautiful and it is so mathematical. When I started putting the tune for this, if I put for 4 lines, one can take the Xerox copy of the swaras and apply it to all other shlokas. To that extent, Ravana's musical talent was so great. It is like Varnam, where that Mettu is there with clarity. So like that, he has written this Shiva Tandava Stotra. So the first one, जटाटवी गलज्जल प्रवाह पावित स्थले गलेवलम्ब्यलम्बितं भुजंग तुंग मालिकं ढमट 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 ढम निनादवड्डमर्वयं चकार चंड तांडवं तनोतु नः शिवः शिवम्. Here चकार चंड तांडवम, Ravana is visualizing that Shiva, who is performing, who is doing that Chanda Tandava, which is rapid, fierce, great, intense dance, which is Tandava. Tanotu na Shiva Shivam. That dance, which is so auspicious, the movement of activated consciousness. What else can it be? It has to be auspicious. Shiva. Let that auspiciousness, Tanotu, let it extend. Let it touch my heart. Let it touch me with that auspiciousness. Shivam Tanotu Nah. Nah means to all of us. What is the Chanda Tandava which he is performing? Jatatavi Galajjala Pravaha Pavita Sthale. The place where he is dancing, Sthala, the place is Pravaha pavita. It is cleansed. Pavita means it is purified, it is sanctified by the flood. Pravaha. Pravaha. The flooding water. Who is that? Ganga. Where is she? From where she is flooding? Jatatavi. That Jata, which is like Atavi, it is like the forest. So that means it is thick. It is not easy. Like when the dam bursts open, the water just floods. But here, it is like Jatatavi, the forest of Jata. So imagine, visualize it. That Jata which Shiva is having is like forest. In that she is locked. Because he is dancing, she is flowing out like Pravaha. And that is making the sthala, the place, purified and sanctified. Galevalambya lambitam bhujangatunga malikam. And he is wearing that Nagaraja, the king of serpents, on his neck. Gala is this neck. Avalambita, which is taking the support, and it is hanging down as though it is mala for that Shiva. And he's dancing with that. Dhamat, 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 dhamat. Ninada vaddamarvayam. So here, when we split the words, it would become Dhaman Ninada Vat Ninadavat Damaru Ayam Damarvayam. That Damaru, this Damaru which is holding in his hand, is making that Ninadavat. That sound is so musical, rhythmic, with so much of modulation in the volume and the way it is producing the sound. Ninadavat Damaru Ayam. So that becomes Ninadavat Damarvayam. What is it saying? Dhamat, 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 dhamat. That is what Ravana is hearing. So he is enjoying Shiva through all the five senses. Chakara Chanda Tandavam Tanotu Na Shiva Shivam. So physically, if you think that Shiva in a form which we are familiar with, imagine he's dancing in that Himalaya where there are so many mountains, surrounded by mountains. When he's doing that Damaru Nada, as it is, Shiva would have given that sound so beautifully. And on top of it, because of the presence of the Parvatas, it is echoing and giving the sound with different volumes and different adding instrumental sounds. Because it is not one sound which Ravana is hearing. That Damaru sound, which is musical and rhythmic, is echoing in that Himalayan mountains. How beautiful it would be. On top of it, Ganga. Why is it Ganga? That which flows freely is called Ganga. Physically, when we take it, it is water. When we go one step ahead and see what that continuously flowing, From the jata, it is the flow of the consciousness, flow of that auspiciousness, Shiva. That Shiva as auspiciousness, consciousness is flowing down and making the whole place purified and sanctified. So the whole thing seems very, very auspicious. Got it? Jatatavi Galajjala Pravaha Pavita Sthale. So the place is sanctified, both physically, when we take it as Ganga river, which has purified the whole place. When we take it as the flow of consciousness, which is making it auspicious all over. There, in that auspiciousness, Shiva is dancing. Tandava. Chakara Chanda Tandava. Galeva Lambya Lambitam Bhujanga Tunga Malikam. So, that snake is acting as a nice big garland, and it is moving to the rhythm of the dance what he is dancing. It is dancing along, giving more joy and more beauty to his Tandava. Who is that snake? The king of snake. It is all jivas. All jivas. Snake represents the jiva. So what does it mean? All the jivas who are clinging, hanging on to that consciousness, Shiva, and taking the joy of being the accompanying dancer, co-dancer with that Shiva who is dancing Shiva Tandava. So that auspiciousness is spreading all over. And the sound, dhamat, 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 which is the very source of the whole creation, Nada. Because he played the Dhamaru, the creation started. And in that creation, he maintains the rhythm. He maintains the rhythm. So, in this, we should visualize and feel the whole earth being sanctified with that auspicious flow of consciousness as Ganga Mai. And we should feel that I am that snake, the serpent, who is clinging to Shiva around him. And become the co-dancer, go in the same rhythm, same harmony, raga, tala, what he is dancing to, even we should follow the same. Then there is good coordination and we feel joy. We are moving with the same flow. And that nada, rhythm, keep up the rhythm, whatever that Shiva, the consciousness, is providing. Thus, we will be experiencing that auspiciousness. The whole universe, the experience of life would become auspicious because the mind is pure, because the heart is pure. Whatever we interact in the world would also become auspicious, beautiful, nice, cooperative. So that's the way he is perceiving Shiva Tandava in the first one. The second one, Jata Kataha Sambhrama Brahman Nilimpa Nirjari Vilola Vichi Vallari Virajamana Murdhani Dagat 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 Jvalal Lalata Patta Pavake Kishora Chandra Shekhare Radhit Pratikshanam Mama. Here Ravana is saying, Radhit Pratikshanam Mama. My mind is delighting every moment, looking at that Shiva who is dancing Tandava. Rathi Pratikshanam Mama. And why is he getting so much of delight, pleasure in seeing that Shiva? Because he is providing many other things. Jata Kataha Sambhrama. The jata which Shiva is having is fashioned in such a beautiful, graceful way that it looks like a big barrel. Kataha means the big vessel, a big barrel. Like that, it is gorgeous and so huge. And that jata is also that sambhrama. It is also moving because he is dancing. The movement of the jata is making Nilimpa Nirjari Vilola Vichi Vallari Virajamana Murdhani. Nilimpa is the celestial Nirjari, the flow, the flood or the fall of that Ganga. She is a celestial woman who is there in the jata. She is coming out as Vilola Vichi Vallari. According to the dance, the jata is also Brahman. It is also moving. The movement of the jata is making her spill out sometime, sprinkle, or come out as a continuous fall, making it as Vallari, a thin layer like a veil, bridal veil. Just imagine the veil of thin water, the thin veil of water, which is coming out, which is spilling out from that jata, which is like kataha, which is like the barrel. But that jata is also beautifully, gracefully decorated and done. And that is moving, which is making nilimpa nirjari vilola vichi. And it is not coming out with jerk. It looks as though she is also dancing and coming, sprinkling down sometimes, or coming out with more water, sometimes as Vallari, with waves, ripples like waves. We can see it and we can enjoy it in the falls. If you go during summer, if you watch out, even in the falls, we can see the thin layer of water, which will be so beautiful. Like that, she is coming down. Virajamana Murdhani Dhagat 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 Jvalal Lalata Patta Pavake. So water is providing that in one way. In the third eye of Shiva, there is fire, emanating of fire. How is it? Dhagat, 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 dhagat. Like that, it is coming out, flashing out. Lalata patta. Lalata patta means the forehead. In that pavaka, that fire which is coming out is pavaka, that which purifies. It is not just the fire. It is a pavaka. It is the purifying fire, which is just shining, dhagat, 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 like. What a contrast. Kishore Chandra Shekhare. And on top of it, he is having the crescent moon as though it is a crown on his jeta. So the vision of Ravana, what he's seeing, Shiva while dancing, Tandava. This is the description of the second one. What can we apply from this shloka? Jata Kataha Sambhrama. So when Devi Ganga is in the jata, in that barrel like jata, she is imbibing the consciousness, Shivatva in her. When the movement of that Shiva Tandava is vigorous, she's coming down like pravaha, flooding, or when it is smooth, she's coming down as a thin veil, or then she's just sprinkling water. What can we understand by this? When in all individuals, when the consciousness, activated consciousness, movement of that is little, the mind is also emitting that Shakti. Ganga is nothing but energy, Shakti, Prakriti. So, Prakriti is imbibing the consciousness and she's flowing out. When consciousness in individual, according to the dance or the movement of that consciousness, the mind also keeps dancing or moving in accordance with the dance of consciousness. Isn't it? When the consciousness is low, the mind works little. When the consciousness is really actively involved, the mind also becomes sharp, alert, with great clarity. It starts creating so many things. One becomes more creative. One becomes more auspicious and more giving more to the universe, that individual, because the consciousness is doing its dance so vigorously in that person that he is contributing a lot. And then dhagat dhagat, the fire which is coming out of that is the Agnya Chakra, Dhyana Chakshu opening up. So if Shiva has opened his third eye and if the fire is coming and if Ravana is seeing it, that means he is seeing the consciousness as the disk of fire, which is just bright, like dhagat, 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 like Surya. It is just bright. What can we understand with this? Like it says in Ishopanishad, Hiranmayena patrena satyasapihitam mukham tattvam pushan naparunu satya dharmaya prishtaye. So it looks like the lid covering that fire disk is covering what is there behind, the truth. The truth is hidden. But Ravana has come to the extent of seeing the disk, the bright fire-like disk, which is consciousness. Behind that is the truth, tattva. So Ravana's mind is becoming more and more connected with that consciousness. So he is able to see the fire which is burning like dhagat, 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 which is covering the truth behind. Even in Narayaniyam, Bhattatiri was able to see that Guruvayurappan as Kalavaliya, the bright fire-like flower bunch. So, for any person, when we go deep into understanding what that consciousness, it always looks like the bright light or the bright fire, which Ravana is seeing it on the forehead of Shiva. And then, because Shiva is having both Ganga and fire, the opponent, opposite of one another, and Chandra is also there to say about the working of the universe, which is under the control of Kala. That is also depicted as the crescent moon, which waxes and wanes once in 15 days. So he is becoming, Ravana is becoming cosmically aware of what the truth is very slowly. And then Dhara Dharendra Nandini Vilasa Bandhu Bandhura Spurat Diganta Santati Pramodamana Manasi Kripa Kataksha Dhorani Niruddha Duddharapadi Kvachit Digambare Mano Vinoda Metu Vastuni. So here Dhara Dharendra Nandini Vilasa Bandhu Bandhura. Dhara Dharendra is Parvataraja. Nandini, that Parvataraja's daughter, is Parvati. And who is very charming, Bandhura. And she has become Vilasa Bandhu. Vilasa is Leela, sporting or dancing. In that she has become Bandhu. That means she has become the co-artist or co-dancer. One who is dancing hand in hand with Shiva. So, Shiva's manas, the mind, is filled with pramoda. Pramoda means the ecstasy, the joy, the bliss of dancing. Pramodamana manasa. His mind is filled with so much of joy. Why? Because he's dancing with Parvati, who is Dhara Dharendra Nandini. She is dancing with him. So his mind is becoming more and more joyful. That joy is Purat Diganta Santati. The happiness of Shiva is increasing so much that without any gap, it's just increasing. Diganta, towards the end of the direction. Is there any end to the dik, to the direction? No. So Diganta means infinite bliss. It kept on increasing because he's dancing with Parvati. That mind of Shiva. Can you imagine? Can you visualize which Ravana is experiencing? And he's telling Mano vinoda metu vastuni. Let my mind be happy, vinoda. Let my mind be happy with seeing all these things happening right in front of me. What are they? The mind of Shiva, which is becoming so happy, blissful, which is ever increasing, reaching the Diganta, the end of the direction. Like that, he is so joyful. That joy is increasing because he is dancing with Nandini, Parvati. Kripa Kataksha Dhorani, Niruddha Durdharapadi. And another thing which is making him Vinoda is all the difficulties which can never be taken out. The hopeless situation which can never be corrected. The sorrow which can never be destroyed. All these things, the way his graceful, compassionate Kataksha, the glance of Shiva, which is so compassionate, that is making these kind of situations just vanish in no time. See the depth of understanding there. The situation or Niruddha Durdhara Apat. Apat means all the difficulties, troubles, troubling situations, which can never be Niruddha, which can never be stopped, which can never be destroyed, which can never, we can never come out of it. That kind of situation, Shiva, just by his Kataksha, just by his glance, he's taking it out. So that means Ravana has totally forgotten. He has come out of the pain, physical pain which he was feeling, the physical pain, keeping his hands under the Kailasa. Mentally, the emotion that I failed in front of Shiva and Nandi. That emotional failure is also gone, which was not acceptable to Ravana at all. He used to think that he is the Ishvara of the whole universe. He has come out of that. And he's also experiencing, wow, Shiva is not that bad. He is giving that Kripa Kataksha. The way he's taking out the difficulties of the beings and me. It's unbelievable. It is Vinodam Etu Vastuni. These are all the things which will make me happy every moment. Kvachit Digambare. Another thing, Kvachit Digambare. For him, what is he wearing? Dig itself as the cloth. That means the whole manifestation is covered with Ambara, the cloth, as Dik. The direction itself is the cloth for him. So this is the meaning. What can we understand and what can we take from this? Dhara Dharendra Nandini Vilasa Bandhu Bandhura. So when we are dancing or when we are acting together in a drama or dance drama or dancing with other people, there should be good understanding and there should be good chemistry between the co-artists. If that is not there, there will be some kind of barrier and limiting ourselves as dancers or actors. For that matter, when we have to do a work, a job, a project with another person, it will see the success and the joy in doing that project or joy in dancing becomes enjoyable only when there is good understanding and good chemistry between two. Then it becomes very enjoyable. Otherwise, some kind of limitation will be there, some restriction. It would have been better if I was all alone on the stage, that type of thing. But here, Shiva is getting the support and the joy of having Shakti, Shiva Shakti together. They are making a very good pair because they know each other's next move. What is she going to do? What is he going to do? And they love each other. There is good understanding, good chemistry, and good feeling about one another. There is no competition. There is cooperation. With all these things, they are able to create the whole manifestation with so much of multiplicity. Because the movement is so much, the dancing is so much, that every second the manifestation is changing continuously, giving different kinds of movements, poses. So what do we understand? As I said, there is millions and millions types of Tandava happening in the universe every moment. Even in every individual, that Tandava dance is happening with different poses and movements, because of which we are all lively, happy, and interacting with other set of Tandavas, which is other human being, animal, plant, you take any. So his joy is just increasing like anything. And just imagine, you and I, everyone is part of that Tandava, Shiva Tandava, which is a mega dance. In that we are all dancing, not leaving anyone. Each one of us are dancing in that. How beautiful it is. We are part of it. So even our joy should keep increasing. The life itself will become such a beautiful experience because we are taking it as performance of the dance. The life as performance of dance. So when I'm dancing and taking different roles, I get the same joy as dancing a heroine role or hero role or villainous role or a bad character, being a king, being a beggar. I enjoy all with equal importance and involvement, because the joy is not in what the character is. The joy is there in which way I'm getting connected. That's all. In which way I'm getting connected to the character, that is what I'm enjoying. So once I know how to get connected with the character, be it good or bad, it doesn't matter at all. We will be enjoying everything. So even the difficult situations, happy situations, everything will be enjoyable once we realize that I am part of the Shiva Tandava, which is happening in the whole cosmos. Let me do my role beautifully with that Shiva and Shakti, Parvata Nandini. So that is one. His compassionate glance takes away that apat, the distress or the difficulties. How is it possible? How can we understand that? Shiva's compassionate eye means nothing but the soul, the consciousness, the ray of consciousness falling on the mind. When that happens, it calms the mind and it also takes out the ignorance, gives the clarity when that consciousness is opened from within, that Shiva's glance. It makes us understand all these difficulties, trouble, misery is coming to the mind, to the body, not to me. It is the part of mind. It's not I who is having that. So that distancing from the trouble will make me see the whole situation with clarity. The distancing. Naturally, I will understand what the problem is and I will try to find the solution. And the solution will also come from within only. So the distancing is happening just because of Shiva's compassionate glance as the ray of consciousness falling on the mind and the intellect. That is what. That is what is happening to Ravana. From within, he is changing his own self. He has become a different person. And thus he is able to come up with this stotra. Compassionate. And Digambara, we all want cloth because of shame or to cover ourselves or because of the temperature or because of the societal pressure. We do need this. It is the body and the mind which needs the cloth, ambara. But consciousness, it is all encompassing. Only dik can be the ambara for that, which is vast. It is that which envelops the body and the mind that we don't realize. So, Digambara. So, there also, Ravana's mind is expanding and seeing that Shiva, who is Digambara, vast. And also, it shows he is yogi. Shiva is yogi with Vairagya in him. Jata bhujanga pingalat spurat phana mani prabha kadamba kunkumadrava pralipta digvadhu mukhe madantha sindhura spurat vaguttariya medure mano vinoda madbhutam vibhattu bhuta bhattari. Mano vinodam adbhutam vibhattu. Let my mind be filled with that joy, the wondrous adbhuta vinoda, wondrous joy. That means Ravana is going one more step towards Shivatva, towards Shiva. He is experiencing that. So he is feeling everything as wondrous, which is giving lots of joy. What are those things? Bhuta Bhartari, the way he is sustaining all beings. That means he is having that vision of the Virat Rupi Shiva, because he is doing that Tandava, moving, and he is showing different things of the whole universe. He's having that. Bhuta Bhartari. And what is he doing and what is happening in the universe? Jata Bhujanga Pingala Spurat Phana Maniprabha. On his jata, he's tying that serpent, which is Nagaraja, around his jata also. There is a snake. And that Nagaraja is having a jewel, which is the gem, Ratna, which is giving out, shining the red light. Pingala. Pingala Spura. It is brownish red, which is Kadamba Kunkumadrava Pralipta Dikvadhu Mukhe. That shine of that Nagaraja's gem, because he's dancing Tandava, this Naga is also moving around. That movement is making that gem to shine, to send the rays of red in all the directions. And that too, it is going so far. It is so bright and it is going all the way to the end of the direction. That means Dik Anta. So with this redness going all over, Ravana is seeing Dik as Vadhu. That means all directions are looking so beautiful, like as though Sindhura, the paste of Sindhura is flowing on the forehead of the Vadhu, bride. It's all happening because of that Mani Prabha, which is emanating that light. Jata Bhujanga Pingala. Jata Bhujanga means the snake. Jata Bhujanga, that Bhujanga which is around the Jata is emanating Pingala, that reddish brown color, through Mani Prabha, through the gem, and which looks like Kadamba Kunkuma. Kadamba is flower, Kesari flower. When we make the Kunkumam out of that Kadamba flower, it will have thick redness. Pralipta Dik Vadhu. And it looks like it is melting and going all the way down in all directions. It is flowing. On whom? Vadhu Mukhe. Dik Vadhu Mukhe. On the direction as Vadhu on her face. Do you remember seeing any Vadhu, not modern day Vadhu bride, because no one puts the kumkumam properly on the forehead, because she's already with the good makeup done by the professional. No one really puts the kumkumam. But if you see the real Vadhu, on whom all other Sumangalis come and put the kumkumam, the whole forehead will be filled with kumkuma, and she looks so beautiful. She looks so beautiful and very different. There will be some kind of tejas in her. Because any Vadhu, she is a newly created Vadhu who is ready to take care of the whole society by bringing the child, for which she needs lots of Rajoguna. She is with Rajoguna and she is ready to take the care of the society, bring up the children. So many things she's going to take the responsibility. So how will she be? She will be so beautiful with lots of Rajoguna, which is symbolized through the kunkuma, with lots of kunkuma on her forehead. So certainly she looks so beautiful and very different from all other days how she looks, isn't it? So that Vadhu, now Ravana is seeing in a cosmic level that dik, the direction, all directions are filled with that kunkuma paste. So which looks like she's filled with Rajoguna. So the creation is at its height, intensity, and thus the creation is happening with so much of multitude every second, every moment. So he's having the cosmic vision. Madandha sindhura spurat tvak uttariya medure. Medure means thick. Madandha sindhura, that is one who was intoxicated, Gajasura, who was in the form of elephant. His thick skin, tvak means skin, uttariya, he's putting it around his chest as uttariya. Shiva is having that. And that is also trembling. It is moving. It is moving, but its movement looks like trembling. So see the contrast again. There, Bhujanga is shining, sending that red color to the whole thing in all directions. Here, that Gajasura's thick skin, which is around him, is also trembling, moving. Spurat. Spurat here means it is moving, it's trembling. What does it mean? The mind, when it comes in direct connection with consciousness, the mind automatically trembles. Because facing the consciousness is not easy. Same thing happened to Manmatha also. That is why Kamadahana happened. So here that thick skin of that Gajasura represents the mind, which is trembling when that activated consciousness is moving so vigorously. All these things, looking at it, it is giving me life lesson. What happens, how it is. For example, the minute I was reading this shloka, if the kunkuma is reaching all the way to the end of the direction, won't it happen the same thing with us also? When the consciousness is dancing within, the grandeur, the greatness, goodness, the brightness of that person also goes all the way to the whole world. The example is Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and there are many around us only. Just because they are with that activated consciousness, in touch with it all the time, their glory, their fame spreads all over, bringing joy and wonder to everyone around them. So, when Shiva Tandava is happening, there is repercussion on different jivatmas in different ways. But every reaction is taking care to see that each being is corrected and lifted up towards that consciousness. So, Shiva Tandava is auspicious in all ways, both in the case of Gajasura and as well as Nagaraj. Okay, I think I will stop at this. Om Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti Om. 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 Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti Om.